Hello, this is Howard Wiseman from Wiseman Cases here in London. For the past 34 years, we've been making bassoon cases. The whole business started with the bassoon case just to solve a problem that I had getting to and from school. Over all this time, we've kept developing the products so that superior materials, both for the shock absorbing inside the cases and the structural strength on the outside, have resulted after all these years with incredibly strong cases, hard cases, but much lighter than even a gig bag would be. And I'd like to show you in a moment the different models so you can see what choices you would have if you choose to invest in a Wiseman bassoon case to look after your bassoon. This is the classic Wiseman bassoon case. This is pretty much where the whole thing started 34 years ago. This was my solution to getting the bassoon to school and back, a mile walk at each end and public transport in between on a packed rush hour train. And the beauty of it was it could just disappear over my shoulder and I could still wear a backpack with my school bags and another big holder with my sports kit and whatever. And since then, of course, this has evolved so that there is now a second strap, and I could have worn that as the backpack, which would have been even more comfortable in hindsight. But here it is, tubular shape, so it was the smallest possible shape that I could fit a bassoon into. It was the strongest shape and with the smallest surface area. So for the strength of the case, and given that it's a wooden construction with leather cover, extremely light. Obviously carbon fibre cases, which you can see later in the video, are almost half the weight again. But this is still an incredibly compact, very, very comfortable case to carry, and it gives an amazing level of protection. And it also has on the outside a very large music pocket. So the music pocket is A3 size. There is a buckle belt for added peace of mind and security, and onto that you can put an accessory bag which can also be purchased with the case. But the music pocket poppers on. It has 4 locating points, and you can take it clean off if you don't want to carry any music, but the music just goes inside. Now, the only limitation with it being around a tubular case is that when there's a fair amount of music, this swells up and may not reach back to where the original poppers were. Now, at that point, there are a pair of extensions which you simply popper on to both corners, and then you can carry pretty much as much music as you wish. And of course, you have the perimeter belt that pulls all of that in securely as well. The other feature on the outside of this case is, although these days we have a lifetime guarantee on our cases, when I first started making these, I simply knew that I wanted them to last as long as I could. Zippers break every 4 or 5 years, no matter how good they are. So we have this rather unique Velcro system where you simply flick one corner with both hands, one corner with the other, and then you flick and you're into the case. When you close it, you simply flick the corners, wipe, and the case is closed. And we've even closed off almost half of the Velcro by putting a bead of Velcro against it. And that means 10, 20, 15, however many years down the line, you can release fresh, unused Velcro for a new lease of life. But this Velcro system has been in use for 34 years, and we haven't yet had to change the Velcro on anybody's cases. So in a moment, we'll move on to the inside of the case, and I can show you exactly how that works. So now onto the inside of the case. Before I open the case, I'll just share with you one trick, which is actually quite a useful one if you own this case. If you're very late for rehearsal, or just late for rehearsal, and you don't want that embarrassing situation of the sound of the Velcro when you're opening the case, don't want to have to wait until the timpani rolls for you to be able to do that, what you do is you open the case just outside the concert room or the rehearsal room. You then simply buckle the case back shut again. Or if you don't have the strap with you, you simply hold it from the two handles which bring the case together. You then climb into your position in the orchestra and undo the belt, and of course you're there in silence. So that did catch me out once when I was at music college, and that's a trick worth passing on. So now to the inside of the case. It opens like a tray, on your lap, on your table, on a chair. You open up the two flaps to reveal the whole bassoon. So let's start with the bocals or crooks. There are two bocal socks. Each one will actually take two bocals. There's a divide in there, but I've laid out two separate ones to show you a good position, low-lying area, where once you bring the pad back over and you have that little bit of touch from the other side onto the padding, nothing can move underneath. So there are the bocals. What I do as a bassoonist when I use this case is I actually usually carry one bocal sock, and I put it straight down the bell of my bassoon when I'm unpacking and putting the bassoon together, ready to go on stage. So in this case, the joints are all held on a padded bed, but there are raised blocks beneath. If I just move the reed box, there are there are blocks in the padding underneath which actually raise the bassoon up off the ground. So all padded, but it's hammocked so that the bassoon is really supported from here and from back here. And what the strapping does is basically just keep the bassoon pretty much in place. So these straps come across, and this one blocks in the tenor joint. This strap you never need to undo. You can just set it the once to be a good fit for your tenons, and then you just slide the bassoon in. And over here, the only strap that you need to operate is the central one. The butt joint just slides in underneath another strap which can be adjusted just the once. And the bell also just flicks in underneath a strap. And you can angle the B flat key so that it is loose and free in the V shape under there. The case comes with an accessory bag, a leather accessory bag, and this can be placed alongside the bell. There's plenty of room for a reasonable size reed box here. There's more space here, and sometimes I use a large, very long reed box instead of the leather bag, and then I simply put my pliers and my knife behind the reed box against the wall of the case. So setting up and setting down, extremely convenient. You can take it into the orchestra with you and treat this case as two equal halves. No lid, no base, clamshell, and although we have other cases now where the joints are suspended in rubber blocks, one of the advantages still of this original case is the versatility, the way in which you could swap between a German modern bassoon to a classical bassoon to a Baroque bassoon or even a French bassoon. Very easy to adjust those straps and to make it quite a universal case for your various instruments. So that is the classic Wiseman bassoon case. So this is the classic Wiseman bassoon case, but in carbon fibre. I'm about to show you the outside of the case, but we'll mention now that the inside is different to the wooden and leather covered classic, which you may have already seen. So the outside is autoclave carbon fibre. It's the toughest, strongest, lightest form of carbon fibre. And these cases, combined with the tubular shape, are unbelievably strong in terms of crush resistance. On the outside of these cases, the handles still come in from both sides as they do on the wooden and leather case, pulling the case effectively together, and they are also sunk into the carbon fibre to further enhance the strength of the shell. It has the same music pocket that you would expect on a Wiseman case, A3 size. These have stainless steel hinges and the fantastic marine locks which are marine grade stainless steel, which cannot open by accident. If the clasp flicks open by accident, you still have to turn it to open the case. And these have been sunk into the case absolutely flush, so that they don't get snagged on anything. And also, when you put this case on your back, it lies flat with the lock sunk in, so they cannot catch on your clothing. And you'll see there's quite a space behind there as well. So that is the outside. It's the tubular shape, the most compact way of housing a bassoon. And this, of course, is available in all sorts of different colours, the carbon fibre. So this is the deep red. We also have the standard black unlacquered carbon, which is very beautiful as well. And we have deep British racing car green, it is called, which actually looks pretty black until you're in the right light or fairly close up. And there are other colours as well, such as blue and white, and of course checkered carbon as well, which has a very Formula One look about it. So that's the outside of the case, and now we can move on to the inside. So onto the inside of the tubular classic bassoon case. The thing I've always loved as a bassoonist using these cases is how this case doesn't have a lid and it doesn't have a base. It just folds open on your lap. So whether you're in a rehearsal or in the orchestral pit for the opera, wherever you are, whatever space you've got, this can go with you and open like a tray on your lap. And it's so light and small and compact, it can easily then be dropped down underneath or to the side of the chair, or even stood up with your water pot on top of the case, so it's operating as a stand. So what we've done here again is we've sunk all the joints, starting with the bell, into shock absorbing rubber. When the case is closed, everything clamshells from the opposite side, so there is no need for any padded barrier between the two halves. The butt joint again goes into a hole. Everything is adjustable at both ends, so you can get the fit perfect for your bassoon. We've even suspended the bocals or crooks, so they're actually hanging in the air with their own specific slot that will cater for a range of different shapes and sizes. And this case will take up to 4 bocals. Then on the far side you have the long joint and the tenon. Again, these just sink into their grooves at one end, down into the grooves at the other, and there's even consideration for the fact there'll be some moisture coming out of the tenon joint, so we have some velvet covered foam at the open end of the tenor joint. So extremely compact. There are areas here where you can lie harmless items like a sling, but there is a large storage pocket here which goes underneath the bell. Furthermore, you can keep the balance hanger on the end of the butt joint, and that will come through a hole that is on the inside of the pocket, so there is no need to remove the balance hanger on your butt joint. There's also a small pocket at the end of the tenor joint alongside the long joint, which is ideal for a tuning machine, small box of reeds, that sort of thing. So that is the carbon fibre tubular classic bassoon case, all joints suspended, everything held in the air, and it really does give the maximum protection to your bassoon. So this is the Wiseman flat bassoon case. We have kept the same type of shape that we originally started with, which of course was the tubular case, but we've stretched it to create an oval. And this is so that you have as crush resistant a shape as you can for that sort of width opening. So it's oval, it's extremely slim, and it's extremely narrow, and it has been built out of our carbon fibre material, which is 20 times stronger than its own weight in steel. It is unbelievably strong, and this whole case weighs only 4 pounds. It's unbelievably light. It has a lifetime guarantee, of course, so all of the fixings are of the highest quality. So the locks are marine grade stainless steel yacht locks, and the beauty of these is that if you accidentally flick the lever open, the case cannot open. You have to turn and twist. So amazing security. It comes with a large A3 size music pocket. It can stand on its narrow edge. It's got superb raised platforms underneath alongside the stainless steel hinges. So it's very secure whether it's on its side, and you can see the leather studded feet on the ends, and there's a lovely adjustable padded handle on the top and leather handles also on the side, which have a lovely padded wraparound which simply pop as closed. The case can come without the fittings for a music pocket, entirely the choice when you purchase, but most people choose to have the music pocket. And of course it comes with 4 D-rings and wonderfully strong leather shoulder straps and pads, which have remained unchanged now for the 34 years that we've been making bassoon cases. So extremely comfortable, incredibly compact, and that's just the outside of the case. So now I'll show you how the inside works. So now onto the inside of the case, and it should just be pointed out that we can make this same case for the gentleman cut bassoon. So if you've got a bassoon with the longer bell and the shorter long joint, the case will obviously be even smaller, and it would be the same construction and the same principle. So here we go. Just opening the case up. There is the magic trick. One of the incredible things about this case is that despite the fact that it is very, very slim, there is an enormous amount of storage. Now, I'm actually going to undo the hinge, which you can set to any distance that you want, just so that I can lay the case out for a moment so you can see where everything is and how this works. So the 4 joints of the bassoon are suspended in shock absorbing rubber. You have the bell, the butt joint goes into a socket, a hole, and you can actually keep the handrest on with this case. And the long joint also goes into and through a rubber block. And you'll note that it is not held by the relatively fragile tenon joint. It's actually held by the main body itself. So the tenon goes through and past, and then the joint lies down. And this is another particular detail with the tenor joint, which you can see is in the lid. So the tenor joint has a very fragile tenon on the end that goes into the butt joint. And what I've gone to some lengths to do with this case is to actually hold and support the tenor joint from this point, not from the tenon itself. So this sinks into the rubber, holds the joint from the main body of woodwork, and this rubber is so flexible that it will mould around your bassoon, having been in there just for an hour or so. Then this end is blocked in, and this little piece here is effectively the divide. We have this at both ends that puts distance between the tenor joint and the long joint when the case closes. So when it closes, the tenor and long joint effectively go back into the position that they would be set up in, but with about a 6 millimeter gap between them. So effectively, when the case closes, the tenor joint will be there, exactly where it would be set up on the full bassoon, but with a gap between them. Now, the other incredible thing about this case is actually, although it's been made as small and as slim as possible, and as narrow as possible, there is all of this storage. We have utilised every bit of the space. So in the lid, you can fit a wealth of glasses cases, reed boxes, tool bags, water pots, crooks. The crooks are all fully adjustable. The case comes with basically a little bridge, which you can see here, which if you look at the crook that is placed in here for storage, you simply hook out the storage, the bridge, and take out the crook. And you could put as many crooks into the lid as you chose. Now, the instant use crook can be kept in the end of the bell. There's a simple little crook sock, and it's designed so there's a little bit of grip when it goes in, and the case is designed with a little slope and freedom at the end of the bell so that the crook has plenty of space here and on the other side of the case to receive it in the lid area here. The case comes complete with a large leather tool bag which sits in that space, and when the case is closed, the blocking on the other side of the case actually locks it into place. There's also room down here for storage. One of the typical Velcro movable pads, of which there are plenty in the lid, so you could put a reed box, a water pot, your sling, anything you want into that little Velcro space. So the case is extremely versatile, will allow the handrest to stay on when you're operating the case. As I say, you can set the lid to the depth you need, you can have the case upright, you can have it in a clamshell position, or of course completely flat as we've shown you, and it's really quite comfortable to work with on your lap in the orchestra pit as well. So that is the new flat Wiseman bassoon case made of carbon fibre, and it weighs just about 4 pounds and is I think the best case in terms of the amount of storage that you can put in alongside your bassoon. These are the Wiseman contrabassoon and contraforte cases. Now, whilst nearly all other cases we can make in different forms of construction, wood with leather and all sorts, the cases of this size we only offer in carbon fibre. And this is because the carbon fibre is so light, so unbelievably strong, that we really only view this as the way to move the contrabassoon or contraforte around. The other constructions are just too heavy with the weight of the instrument combined. Now, here is a contrabassoon case. It is a really, really strong hard case. And this actual one, you can see, is covered in labels. Now, we actually use this on all of our trips, whether we've got an instrument in it or not. We use this when we go to trade shows to put other things in, whether it's clothes, other instruments, other cases, and we simply present it as it is. Sometimes we ship it, we just post it as it is. This is a flight case. It only weighs about 10 or 11 pounds, but with the carbon fibre, the design, the shape, all the reinforcements that we put into these cases, this is basically a flight case that also replaces a gig bag. And also we have these fantastic longboard wheels, which, as you can hear, roll effortlessly and silently, and they are almost like cushioning on the side or the corner of the case. They're designed for extreme shock absorption because they are longboard wheels, and they are designed for thousands of miles of abuse on rough terrain. So we make the contrabassoon cases very specifically for your brand and make, and indeed certainly with older contrabassoons, the exact design of the time in mind. So be it a Wiseman, a Heckel, an Adler, an Amati, a Puckner, it doesn't matter what the brand is. A Fox, we actually supply these for Fox, and most of their instruments now come with this case. The other enormous benefit with this case is, although I designed this to be as small as possible for the contrabassoon, in almost every instance we can fit a bassoon in as well without making it any bigger. And we have also fitted in all the stands before now, depending on what brand of stands you have, but we have carbon fibre stands for the bassoon and contrabassoon that will fit in here alongside both instruments. So this has proven to be a huge success. When you are handling the case, the handle on the top can operate from the left or the right hand side. There are 4 different layers of D-rings so that the shoulder straps and backpack straps can be set up to suit your height. And also these stainless steel marine grade locks are on this case in 3 different positions: top, middle and bottom. And we have used all of these features in a slightly different model, which is this one, and this is for the Contraforte. So all the features are the same. We've added a few handles, we've added a little extra security against the luggage handlers and that sort of situation by velcroing over on top of the marine locks, and that is quite a useful bit of added security. So remember, these cannot be opened accidentally because they have to be twisted, but given that this is always going underneath the aeroplane, we've also shuttered those off. But this is otherwise identical to the contrabassoon case, just it looks a little bit more like a missile because it's a uniform shape throughout. It doesn't need the kink for the bell. So these are made specific to your instruments, be it a contrabassoon or a contraforte, and we can usually fit a bassoon in as well with the contrabassoon. So that's the Wiseman contrabassoon case. So we've had a look at some of our most popular bassoon cases, and of course the contrabassoon, contraforte case as well. All of them, of course, have a lifetime guarantee. If you're interested in investing in the ideal and perfect case for you and your bassoon, and to give the bassoon that added protection and comfort for you whilst carrying it, then do get in touch so we can discuss exactly what you would like. And we can tailor the cases from details that run from cosmetic, the stitching colour you want on the handles, through to the practicalities of any accessories you might want in your case, or even any keywork that are on your instruments that may not be standard. And we can of course make bespoke cases that are different to these, perhaps that have 2 bassoons. We've done that a number of times, and you may wish for those to be interchangeable between classical and baroque bassoon, French system, German bassoon. Whatever it is you require, we can almost certainly make it for you. So look forward to hearing from you at some point in the future.